You spend so much energy trying to be right. Oh, I know that feeling. I was born in a time when you had to fight tooth and nail for your truth. Growing up in Alabama, my word weighed less than the dust on the road, so I learned to scream with my righteousness. I thought, if I prove I'm smart, if I prove I'm right, the world will finally see me. I argued with my husband until I was hoarse over trivial things. I corrected my children. I wrote angry letters to newspapers, but do you know what I realized at 95? Winning an argument is the loneliest victory in the world. Every time I won, I lost a piece of intimacy. I watched my brother go silent for years after one political spat. I watched friends walk away because I was too busy with my truth to hear their pain. In the hospice where I volunteered for 30 years, not one person said, "I wish I'd proven my point back in 1974. They said, "I wish I'd hugged him instead of shouting." Now, when someone tells me the sky is green, I just smile and say, "Perhaps it looks that way from where you're standing. My silence now isn't weakness. It's a luxury I can finally afford." I no longer waste my oxygen trying to change someone's mind. I save it to breathe in the scent of the jasmine on my porch. Look at my hands. They look like the bark of an old oak tree, dark, etched with wrinkles, spotted by time. I used to hate them. I remember in my youth, I wouldn't wear sleeveless dresses because I feared my shoulders were too heavy, or that my skin wasn't as smooth as the girls on magazine covers who never looked like me anyway. We women spend our lives in a prison built of mirrors. We measure our worth in inches and pounds, as if we are produced at a market rather than a miracle of nature. I've seen so many women in their final days. Do you know what they regretted? Not one said, "I wish I'd been 10 pounds lighter." They cried because they didn't get into the water with their grandchildren because they were afraid of looking awkward in a swimsuit. They regretted not dancing at weddings because they were ashamed of their shapes. Your body is not a prop, it is a vessel that carries you through the storms of life. My legs, which ache now, once carried me through civil rights marches. My breasts nursed 3 children. My skin endured sun and wind. At 95, I finally understand my body doesn't have to be beautiful for you. It has to be a home for me. Eat that cake, wear that bright dress, put your face in the sun. Don't wait until your body starts to fail to finally thank it for its service. You are beautiful not because you are perfect, but because you are alive. I carried anger for 70 years. Oh, it was a refined kind of anger. I remember the face of the teacher who told me I'd never be more than a maid. I remember the person who betrayed my first business in the 60s. I wore those memories like jewelry, taking them out every night to polish them with my rage. I thought my anger was my shield, that it punished those who hurt me. But do you know what I realized? Those people had long forgotten I existed. They slept soundly while I burned my own soul from the inside out. In the hospice, I saw families who hadn't spoken in 40 years. Brothers stood by their dying father's bed and wouldn't even look at each other. They divided old grudges like an inheritance, even though those grudges had long turned to dust. I saw people die with fists clenched in fury instead of relaxing their palms for one last touch of love. Anger is a heavy stone you force yourself to carry uphill. One day, when I was 80, I just stopped and laid that stone on the road. I forgave not because they deserved an apology. I forgave because I deserved peace. Now, there is no room for enemies in my heart. There is too much room for my flowers. I carried anger for 70 years. Oh, it was a refined kind of anger. I remember the face of the teacher who told me I'd never be more than a maid. I remember the person who betrayed my first business in the 60s. I wore those memories like jewelry, taking them out every night to polish them with my rage. I thought my anger was my shield, that it punished those who hurt me. But do you know what I realized? Those people had long forgotten I existed. They slept soundly while I burned my own soul from the inside out. I used to be afraid of missing something important. I read every newspaper. I listened to the news late into the night. I tried to understand every new piece of technology so my grandkids wouldn't think I was a relic. The world is constantly screaming, "Look here, this is urgent. This is a catastrophe." But at 95, I realized most things labeled urgent don't matter at all just a week later. Politicians come and go, fashions change, and the news only sells us fear. I decided to turn off that noise. I don't know what they're arguing about on the internet today. I don't know which celebrity divorced whom. And you know what? My life didn't get any poorer. On the contrary, I finally heard my own thoughts. I started noticing how the color of the maple leaves outside my window changes. I started distinguishing 5 different shades in the birds' morning songs. You aren't obligated to stay informed about everything. You have the right to say, "This does not belong in my life." Guard your mind against clutter. You only have a certain amount of attention, don't waste it on what doesn't feed your soul. This was the hardest part, to stop being just mom or grandma I raised for children. I gave them every drop of my strength. I worked 2 jobs so they could have an education. And when they grew up, I kept waiting for their approval. When my husband passed on, my children decided I had become fragile porcelain. They wanted me to move to assisted living, to sell my house, to stop traveling alone. They did it out of love, but their love was a cage. For a long time, I felt guilty when I did things my way. I was afraid they'd think I was selfish. But at 95, I finally told them, "I love you, but my life belongs to me. I don't stop being a person just because my hair is grey." Your children are arrows you've launched into the future, but you don't have to fly with them. You shouldn't live just so they can feel comfortable about you. Listen to your heart, even if your adult children shake their heads. You've done your duty. Now it's your time to simply enjoy your own journey. I was taught that every minute must be useful. We Black women of my generation survived through labor. If you don't work, you don't exist. Even on weekends, I had to be sewing, cooking, or cleaning. When I retired, I felt a terrible emptiness. Who am I if I'm not doing anything? I felt guilty for every hour spent in a chair with a book. Only now, at the finish line, have I realized we are not tools. We don't have to justify our right to breathe by how much we've earned or how many tasks we've completed. The world wants you to be productive, to be part of the machine. But God created us for joy. Now, my most productive day is the one where I could watch the sunset for a long time. It's the day I just drank tea and felt its warmth. Learn to be useless to the system, but precious to yourself. Rest is not a reward for work. Rest is your birthright. People fear death so much that they forget to live. I've seen the end 100 times. When the curtain begins to fall, everything we talked about, righteousness, the body, money, productivity, vanishes like mist. Only one question remains: did I love enough? Did I let love touch me? I am not afraid. When you let go of everything unnecessary, you become very light. I feel that my life has been a long, complex, sometimes painful, but beautiful song. And when the music ends, I won't have regrets. I want you to have no regrets either. Don't wait until you're 95 to realize that life is a gift, not an exam. Love yourself now. Be kind to yourself now. Because in the end, we are all just walking each other home. For most of my life, I was an actress. Not on a stage, but in real life. When you are a Black woman of my generation, you learn to wear the mask of agreeability. You smile when it hurts. You speak softly so as not to scare anyone. You hide your intelligence so as not to seem like a threat. I wore that mask for so long that at one point, I forgot what my real face looked like. I tried to be the perfect wife, the perfect Christian, the perfect neighbor. I feared that if I showed my fatigue or my anger, the world would fall apart. But at 95, I realized the mask makes it hard to breathe. I started taking it off, layer by layer. It was terrifying, like walking outside naked. But do you know what happened? The world didn't fall apart. On the contrary, it became brighter. For the first time, I said no to things I had hated for decades. I stopped pretending to like people who looked down on me. I allowed myself to be unpleasant if it meant being honest. Now, when I look in the mirror, I don't see who they wanted me to be. I see myself real, raw, tired, but free. Don't wait until the end of your life to take off your mask. Breathing deeply is much more important than being liked by everyone around you. We live as if we are preparing for some grand finale that is constantly being delayed. I've seen young people put off happiness for later. When I finish school, when I make $1 million, when the kids grow up, I did that too. I saved the fine china for a special occasion that never came. I kept expensive perfume in a drawer, waiting for a holiday until it dried up. I feared tomorrow, feared the bills, feared illnesses, feared that the world would end before I had a chance to live. Now, at 95, my future is the next 15 minutes. And you know what? It's an incredible relief. When you don't have decades ahead of you, you finally notice how plain water tastes. You notice how sunlight falls on the rug, creating golden patterns. I took out that china, and I drink tea from it every day. I douse myself in perfume just to go to the post office. The future is an illusion that steals the present from us. Don't prepare for life, live it. The special occasion is that you woke up this morning. Everything else is just scenery that can change at any moment. I often think about what I will leave behind. I used to think it had to be houses, money, or a famous name. But standing on the threshold of my century, I see everything differently. Money devalues, houses crumble, names are forgotten. What actually remains of us is the echo of the kindness we showed someone in a moment of despair. It's how we made someone feel important. I remember an old man in the hospice who had no one. All I did was hold his hand for 2 hours in silence. He didn't know my name, and I didn't know his. But in that moment, we were the whole world to each other. This is what real life is. Everything else is just vanity. Don't be afraid to be small in the eyes of the world. A small candle in total darkness shines brighter than 1,000 spotlights during the day. Be that candle. When you finally get to where I am standing, you won't be looking at your bank accounts. You will be remembering the faces of those to whom you gave hope. It is the only currency that matters on the other side.